Hello and welcome to Win, Lose, or Cry, a Maple Leafs podcast. We're all back this week. We unfortunately have a Colorado game to talk about first. So you know what? Let's just start off. Chase, did you catch the game?
Oh, yes, I did. I was nervous to start. Not gonna lie, the way that the Leafs came out, and for I don't know what was going on with the Avs, but they came out flat. Matthews was a man possessed in that first period. Gave it to Makar because I think it was the first goal or the second goal he scored. Makar was all over him on the sideboards, cross-checking him, hooking him, just giving him the business. And he just stepped into one and went top shelf right over Kemper's glove. And he made sure he found Makar and gave him the big woo in the air. As much as I'm an ass fan, I love seeing it.
It's fun.
It was great. It was great to see.
It was a great goal. You're gonna do what you can to get him off his game, and if it's not gonna work, I'm gonna let you know.
Exactly.
But then what I was kind of telling James through the game is one thing that Colorado has at home is playing in the altitude. Since you're not used to it, you start to see a bit of a change once the second period hits, and then that's when the Avs picked up.
That's what Keith said.
I think the goalie change helped too, because Pavel Francouz is one of those teammates where a lot of guys just love him, and since he's had so many injuries the last 2 years, they're all behind him. They want him to be successful, so I think that gave him a little bit of a shot in the arm. But then we got to see what the Avs are all about. They used their speed coming through the neutral zone. They got the pucks down low. Rantanen with an unbelievable no-look pass between the legs to Compher for the game tire. That is the Avs team that I was hoping to see from the get-go. Because I wanted the high octane, barn burner. I wanted to see a little bit of a more manhandling win just to kind of give a full payback from the game in Toronto. Mm-hmm. But the way the comeback from a 4-1 deficit, which Leafs fans I know love seeing a 4-1 lead, makes it even sweeter for me.
Well, and let's so what you were saying there about the full octane offense of the Avalanche. Let's be real. If Campbell wasn't in net for the Leafs, you would have seen that. You would have seen that game you were looking for, right?
Yeah.
Like that could have been 3-4 more goals for the Avs if Campbell didn't do what he did. Because he held that game to 4-4.
I think what we looked at stats after the game, I think it was McKinnon finished with either 11 or 12 shots on the night, and there was at least 4 of them that were extremely high quality from the slot cutting across, and he got a glove, an arm, a stick, anything.
With the diving save, too.
Oh, that was just a
beautiful save.
I'm speechless. I'm absolutely, because the fact that he catches it too in the glove, not just knocks it out of the air, he catches it.
That's a save of the year candidate right there.
And I agree, and not solely because he gloved it, because like you saw him crack the puck, right? It's one thing when a goalie just throws his arm out to the left and makes this big save. It looks incredible, but Campbell, he saw it, dove, and tracked that puck as it came in. There was zero luck in that save. Oh, no. That was 100% skill.
Yep.
Incredible save. But I agree, Brandon. Definitely a potential for goal of the year, or save of the year,
Save of the year, yes.
Yeah.
Such a Leaf thing to do, be up 4-1, have a save of the year candidate, and lose the game.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? At least they got the 1 point, right?
I don't take solace in that when you're up 4-1, but... Yes.
I do when you're against the top offensive team in the league.
Cool, you have to beat them to get the cup.
I agree we do. And you know what happened, Brent? We did beat them last game.
Yeah.
But this game, you can't win every one.
No, you can't.
And the fact, so before we get into the next game, I want to stick on this one for a second here. 4-1 lead we blew, right? Which we don't want to see it, and it happens too often. But I had a little bit of solace in the fact that it was the Avalanche that did it.
A good team, yes.
If we had a 4-1 lead and lost to the Coyotes or Blackhawks or any team that's not considered a strong team, it would be a lot more discomforting. Even losing 4-1 to Boston right now would not be good. right?
If it's
However,
against probably one of the top 3 teams in the league.
That's it. So if it happened against the Avalanche, no, but what I mean is, like, if it happened against Tampa, Florida, Avalanche, or like Washington, it's okay because any of those given teams can score 3 goals just as quick as the Leafs can score 3 goals. Look at the first period.
Yeah.
The Leafs walked onto the ice and had 3 goals, not immediately, but very quickly. Right?
Yeah.
The Avs did it in the third period. Both teams are capable of putting up that many goals that quickly. It's just the Leafs did it in the first period, the Avs did it in the third. And I'm just going to credit that to the altitude. The Leafs didn't fall apart. The altitude got them.
That was Keefe's react. I don't know the exact wording, but that's what he said in the post-game interview as well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. As soon as Chase was here when we watched the game together, and that's what he was saying. He's like, in the first period, he's like, yeah, teams come out hot. He's like, where the Avalanche really get them is the second, third period. He's like, they start to die down, and the Avs are used to the altitude, and they just steamroll them. And I was like, oh, yeah, you keep telling yourself this story. Like, it's 3-1. You tell yourself this story, you're going to get it in the third period. And then sure enough, they turned it on, and the Leafs couldn't do anything.
Man, you're a Leafs
like,
fan.
They dominated.
How are you confident as a Leafs fan saying, oh, it's 3-1, they're going to be fine? How? I'm too scared
because
to say
this
that.
is the most dominant Leaf team we've ever seen. I would say that. Like,
didn't they blow like a 3 or 4 goal lead against the Sens this year? Like 2021?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I still I don't feel safe having a 4 goal. Like, this team can blow it at
any
time.
No, I do. I mean, if you don't have faith in your team, why are you watching? Right? I'm watching because I believe this team can win. And I'm excited to see this team win because realistically, they are a dominant team.
They're a fantastic team.
So the fact they have a 4-1 lead, yeah, I am confident in that. We've got the best goaltender that I've probably ever seen play for the Leafs. They've got the best offense I've probably ever seen for the Leafs. Like this is the strongest Leafs team I've seen. So yeah, that's how I'm going to say I'm confident that they can hold a 4-1 lead. They did it against Boston earlier this year.
Okay,
they lost to the highest scoring team in the league. Oh no!
You also did it against.
You're up 4-1.
Hey, they did it against the Avs in the first game.
Yeah, look at the Avs the first game, 8-3. Right? It's unfortunate that it was a 4-1. If it was a 5-1 lead, people wouldn't be as upset about it.
No, I'd be more.
It's just because it's 4-1. That's why it's that 4-1 statement that
doesn't
Leafs
help.
fans are brokenhearted about. If it was a 5-1 lead, it'd be like, oh, okay, the Avalanche turned it on and came back.
I disagree with that. I don't think you should be happy if your team is up by 3 goals.
I'm not saying I'm happy. I'm saying
still take the positive getting a point.
I can see the positive side of, hey, we were able to get a point.
I think it doesn't. I just think it doesn't help based on the rest of the games this week, where it's like
I agree.
If that was the only thing, like you blew a 4-1 lead against the best team against one of the best teams in the league, and you got a point out of it, you should get bag skated the next day by whatever it happens, right? Like, don't freaking do that.
I agree.
But the following games, blown another multi-goal lead and then lost to the worst team in the league. Not a great look.
No, I know. I didn't see the Golden Knights game. I just saw the stats after, and they were not pretty.
But before we move on to the Golden Knights game, did you guys see 2 things? Did you see Brody get called for Kadri getting called for
embellishment?
Yeah, he got called for essentially being cross-checked in the back, but called embellishment.
Did you see the embellishment call?
I'm watching it right now.
It was embellishment at its finest. Kadri, who is lighter and smaller than Brody, barely touches him. Like, plays like what Kadri did there happens all day, every game on any team. Where you just kind of give someone a little shove. He didn't maliciously attack him with the stick.
No, I'm not saying
he just gave him a little shove. Brody felt the stick hit his back, oh, I can't. Like, he turned into a soccer player as soon as the stick touched him.
I don't know, man.
It didn't help that the feet slide. I know with the force, the feet always are going to come backwards towards the player, but he kind of like he twists a little bit, so you know it's not a full cross check. That's why they call embellishment.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It was embellishment.
I've seen worse dives not get called, so I'm not like shouting from the rooftops. But I'm like, come on, I've seen way worse.
Embellishment's starting to be looked at a little bit more because of Mikko Koskinen in Edmonton. He's taken 2 dives already this year, and the rest have had enough of it. And it's one of those things where we had a cross check against Kucherov in the playoffs, and all of a sudden the red light goes off. Now they're looking at cross checking across the league. The minute you have a big 6'7" goalie go down like he just got shot from a little poke in the back, people are going to say, well, everyone's doing it. So then it starts to reminisce and stick with a lot of the rest in the league throughout every game. Unfortunately, this is one of the games where you see it happen. As an Avs fan, for me, I thought it was a cross check. I thought it was a penalty regardless. But then also the embellishment as well. Like, I thought that was a good call. They take both guys. That's it.
I think no matter what, both get the same result. So I personally didn't think it was a cross-checking penalty.
No, it was
to be completely honest. Even interference, I don't think it was. I think Kadri just gave him a little shove, and that was it. He didn't try to hurt him. He didn't try and throw him out of the play. Right? He didn't interfere with him getting the puck. He just gave him a little shove. And I think if you're going to call Kadri for giving a shove and Brody went down, because I think if Brody didn't go down the way he did, Kadri wouldn't have got that penalty.
Yes and no. If you watch it, not because it's a bad hit, but it affects possession. If you watch like a clip, I don't know who the puck carrier is on Colorado, but he's coming, like, if they're here, the puck carrier is coming this way towards them. And he's like right here, and then Brody falls over as the guy's about to pass him, so it affects possession. So they're gonna call it.
But that's if Brody didn't fall, he could have stopped the puck or played the puck.
Yeah. So that's
why. Or the other thing though too is,
go ahead.
The Avs normally do a dump in anyways. So the minute he gets close to Brody, that puck's going into the corner. So the fact Brody's staying flat-footed at the face-off or the dot outside the blue line, to me that's a bit of an issue if you're a defensive coach.
Yeah, it was. I agreed with the call on the play. The penalty that I thought you were going to talk about that was worse than that was the Ritchie one.
That's why I was saving.
Oh my goodness, it was.
You're on a power play. You're a tied game at the end of the third.
No, that was
they got set to 4-on-4.
Gold. I thought it was Golden Knights game, Brian.
No, I'm looking at the Colorado game. Richie did another stupid thing in the Golden Knights game, very similar.
I didn't think.
I don't think the Richie one sent. Yeah, I don't think was sent to 4-on-4. I thought that was an actual power play.
I think it was 5-on-5. Richie took the penalty, and then right after that was the Kadri Brody one. Because I originally thought they were calling Kadri as a retaliation for Richie getting a penalty. That way it's a 1-on-1 with 2 minutes left. No team has the advantage. But then they actually showed the replays of them, and I agreed with them all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Richie was 5-on-5, Brandon. I could be wrong, but I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm not quite.
It was 5-on-5, and then 20 seconds later, Kadri got the interference call, and Brody got the unsportsmanlike misconduct.
Okay.
So that would have kept it at 5-on-4.
Yeah. So that's you're thinking the Golden Knights game, Brandon.
I must have the notes messed up then.
I'm reading your notes right now.
Yeah.
Richie took a stupid penalty in a tie game in the third period on a power play. That's under Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay. It's because he did something similar.
Yeah.
In this game,
Hey, at least he scored in the Avalanche game, though.
He did. He got a power play goal.
But let's talk about Matthews for a quick second.
All right.
He was invisible from the second period onward.
Yeah.
It was, and that's what bugs me, because we talk about this culture of the team that like they give up in the third period, right? Where they blow the 4-1 lead. And you look at Matthews came out hot that game.
Oh, yeah.
He had 2 goals real quick, shoved it in Makar's face, Like, he was out for vengeance. He came determined. But then he got his 2 goals. He was hot for the end of the period, like hunting for that hat trick. And that was it. He just, after that, I don't think I noticed him again until
I noticed him in overtime.
The overtime, like the end of the game.
But it wasn't a good notice, because I noticed him
Well,
on the goal when he made no effort, and he was tired, but
he's got his 2 goals. Why make an effort?
Before you rip him in overtime, he is tired because he was on the ice probably about for a minute and a half, and that was when the Avs came down, had an offensive chance. Leafs turned around, they came down and had an offensive chance. The Avs had made a line change as they were coming out. So Matthews was having to try to come back tired at the end of a shift against a little bit of a fresher Kadri, Rantanen, and Taves. That's a hard 3 to try to keep up with when you're dead tired.
It is, but there wasn't effort. It wasn't like he didn't try to stick a stick out. It was like he was straight, just gliding. Like,
I
thought there was more effort when on his way back in.
He also finished the third period too.
Yeah.
Right, he was also the shift on the ice that finished that third period.
I get being tired, but like he could have gotten in the way or something. Like, there was no effort on that.
I don't know. I think as soon as that game went to overtime, the Avs had it.
Yeah.
The Leafs. The fact that the shots were 19-5 for the Avs in the third, the Leafs were done. And call it the altitude if you want. Like, the Avs, they were strong and healthy and ready to go, and the Leafs were tired. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought Matthews, he got his 2 goals, and he called it quits, right? Why play for the teams you can play for yourself? He's got his 2 goals. Good to go.
He wants to go to Arizona.
Honestly.
They're coming off a big win against him.
Yeah, there you go. It's a selling factor.
But, like,
beat you?
Exactly. He's gonna do the Marian Hossa from, like, 2007, 2008. He's gonna play for the team that lost the Stanley Cup. And then he's going to sign that offseason with the team who just won the Stanley Cup, hoping that he somehow wins it somewhere along the line.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Do you want to move on to that Vegas game now then?
Yeah. So like I said, I was at work. I didn't catch that game. I
only really caught the highlights.
I just saw the stats and the shots and stuff, and it was not good.
No, it wasn't. I watched the whole thing. No. Again, they had a multi-goal lead at one point. Screwed it up, as you can see. The shot, especially shots in the third. So the first was pretty even, right? Leafs were winning 9-6 in shots. They were doing pretty good. The Leafs were not dominating, but they were playing better than the Knights. And then from there, not so much. I mean, third period they got outshot 12-2.
Ouch.
I mean,
so I just pulled up the stat, like the scoring from that game. They were outshot 14-6 in the second.
Yes.
But they scored 2 of their goals in the second period.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
I didn't realize. As soon as I thought they scored all of them in the first. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I looked at the stats only.
The Leafs also take 5 consecutive penalties in a game.
Ouch.
Hey.
What were they good penalties? Like, what were they?
Like, I don't have them all listed here. Like, one of them was like what I messed up in the last one was Richie in the third. Yeah, in the third. He's terrible. Like, if you put him on waivers, just set him. Don't bring him back up. He can't.
Well, you have to when you have players that can't play.
He can't play.
He can play. He scored.
He got a goal against the Avs.
Yeah. He is an NHL player. He might not be an NHL player on the Maple Leafs.
But
he's too good to be in the AHL.
Yeah.
But he's not good enough to be on a good team in the NHL.
He's been in Arizona.
He would be a good Coyote player.
Yeah, he would.
Exactly.
He really would.
Yeah. I'll say it. Put him on the Avalanche.
No, I don't want him.
Waterboy.
I also think the Muzzin Hall pairing is still bad. And they showed it a lot this game too. giveaways. They had a couple of miscommunications.
Did they play together all game?
No, not all game.
Okay, because I was going to say, during the Avs game, it was Muzzin and Brody together.
Yeah, they did split them up a bit.
Okay.
Muzzin Hall played together for a portion of this game, and they didn't look good.
They looked good last night. I will say that. Against the Arizona Coyotes. They looked good in that game.
Wow, you were defensive against the Arizona Coyotes in a loss. Congratulations.
Watch. Okay.
It's the Arizona Coyotes.
Continue, Brandon.
Okay, man. All right. But yeah, that's really all I had. Not a great loss, I don't think. I think they didn't play very well. Again, it was one of those start off. It's a very leafy week. That's how I described this week to you guys earlier.
Did they beat the Golden Knights in a shootout?
No, yeah. I don't think it was a good game though. Like I don't think they played very well. Vegas should have deserved to win that game.
Outshot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were outshot. They had a 3-1 lead and blew it.
Yeah.
I get what you mean there, Brandon.
Yeah. You can win, but you could win badly, and that was a bad win. I'll take the win, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't want stuff like that's what we were saying. I say this all the time when they win games that they don't deserve. It's like, cool, you won, but it's going to matter more in the playoffs when you do that against a better team and you lose because of it, right? You can't go into the playoffs and thinking I'm going to get shot 12-2 in the third period and think I'm going to win the game. It's just not. Yeah. It's not going to happen, right?
No, it won't.
And I'm not. I mean, Vegas is a very good team, but you can't do that. You can't make those mistakes in the playoffs if you expect to go anywhere. And to the Leafs' credit, they have been doing that a lot less this year than previous years. Defensively, they have strengthened up quite a bit. But they do still have some problems on defense. And tonight, the Vegas game, they struggled a bit on offense. They scored 4 goals, but I don't know what their shots were terrible. You're getting outshot 34-18. That third period's just glaring. You got 2 shots. That's
two.
Like there's score effects, and then there's that. Like you can't have that happen, man.
They can't.
That's how you lose games when you're winning 4-1. But that's all I have about the Vegas game. Do you guys have anything else about that?
I didn't see it, so
just from like the way that the highlight packs were showing, it didn't like. I know the stats saying something different, and when you watch it, it's going to be completely different when it's actually on live. But from what I saw, it didn't really look like Vegas necessarily carried a lot of the pace. It's just that you were getting better shot opportunities or more shot opportunities. But again, I'm just saying that's the way it looked like from the highlight pack. So hearing it from someone who watched it live, that kind of makes a little more sense, because when you see a team outshot 34-18 and you're seeing highlights and it kind of looks like it's a little bit more of a balanced game, you wonder what the hell is going on here.
Yeah, like I said, the first period the Leafs didn't dominate, but they were the better team. And even the first half of the second, I thought the Leafs, at least they were very even. After that, though, it was Vegas all the way. It was
that's also a Vegas team without Eichel and Pacioretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also Vegas team without Eichel and Pacioretty, who are number 1 in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? Like he even though they don't have those 2 players, they are still first place in the Pacific.
Now, we didn't have Marner.
Nope.
No.
We had Richie.
We had... Oh, God, yeah.
Well, there's your swap out, though, right? If we had Marner, Richie would not have been in that lineup.
Yeah, that's...
Even the Colorado
Who
game,
else?
Liljegren, I think?
Yeah.
Was it Liljegren?
Engvall. Was he in?
Engvall.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Had,
I know Engvall missed the Arizona game. Or not the Arizona, sorry, the Colorado game.
They had... was it Josh Anderson?
Yes.
Probably.
He was in for Engvall. Yeah.
I remember because I saw the lineup. I'm like, Anderson. I looked
Joey.
And I looked
Joey
at the
Anderson.
goalies. And I'm like, no, not Anderson, the goalie.
No, Joey Anderson.
Yeah.
Because he played in last night's game, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually had a really good scoring opportunity. Yeah.
But just like that whole game, the door was shut.
Yeah.
Right,
honestly.
Now, James, you and I seem to disagree with this game. Let's move on to the Coyotes.
Mainly because I watched the game and you didn't, Brandon.
I watched parts of it.
You didn't see the Leafs' performance. They played, in my opinion, they played a good game against Arizona. They played a game that they should have won against Arizona. I think Vejmelka had a different agenda. And I think that's what it comes down to. The Leafs outshot them on every opportunity. They had every chance in the world to score. Final shots are 46 shots.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I would love to see how many of those shots Matthews had. Like, he was shooting from all over the ice. Finally scored in the first period, or in the third period, tied it up. It was like 14 seconds into the third. He scored and tied it up. They just could not put the puck in the net. They were able to defend Arizona.
Ooh.
I mean, Arizona only had 18 shots on net. They were able to hold them off. They were able to defend them. But for the life of them, they could not score. Right? Everyone looked good. They could not score. And that game came down to the fact that they couldn't score. That's all that game came down to.
Against the Arizona Coyotes. I just want to...
Against Against Vejmelka.
Yeah.
They had 46 shots on net. The Coyotes allowed 46 shots on net. Vejmelka, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Vejmelka?
Vejmelka.
He stopped 45 of 46.
But how dangerous were those shots? Again, I didn't watch the game.
There's a lot.
I would say out of 46, 30 were weak. 30 were shots on net. 16 of them were probably good scoring opportunities.
Because I did, to be completely honest, I watched the highlights and I saw some pretty good saves by him. I
didn't see that. I didn't, and it was also like, it doesn't count for the shot the Leafs didn't get. Like, Nylander had a breakaway from the blue line onward, but it wasn't a shot on net. Because as he came in for the breakaway, he had the puck brought to the backhand, brought it back across to the forehand to slide it 5-hole, and as he brought it across, the puck jumped his stick, and he lost it. Like, a goal that we've seen Nylander score time and time again on breakaways, didn't even get a shot on net because the puck just jumped off his stick. Like, it absolutely was not the Leafs losing to the Coyotes. It was the world wanting the Coyotes to win, and Vejmelka, he prayed that game. He did, and that's all I can say. Like, the Leafs, in my opinion, they did not play a bad game. The Coyotes played a good game. I will give them that. They played a good defensive game, and they played without Chychrun in net or in defense.
So Jacob Chychrun's now a goalie? That's impressive.
No, sorry. On defense, they didn't have him. They had two. I heard it on the broadcast. They had like two guys who barely had any. There's one guy, I think it may have been his NHL debut. Like, they had two guys on defense that weren't good, but they played the trap system. They collapsed into their own end. They pushed the Leafs to the outside, and Vejmelka stopped everything that came at him. And Mrazek played, Brandon.
Yeah, so how did he look?
Well,
I saw one of the ones I saw was not his fault. It was like a deflection or something.
Yeah. So one was a deflection, which was the first goal. The second goal was a cross crease that I forget, it was Dzingel and somebody came down.
Schmaltz.
And they came down hot. Like, they were coming down fast. They threw the pass across. Brody reached out, and you saw him lift Dzingel's stick, but he just couldn't get enough weight under it, and he couldn't get it up enough, and the puck came across. Even Mrazek, as he spread across the net, tried to cut off the pass, but it was a Sasha pass, went right over his stick, and Buddy teed it up. Perfect goal.
So he had that close quarters on there, eh?
Exactly. He had that NHL 22 ability. But it was a perfect play by Arizona, and it was probably their only scoring chance of the third period. And it was just one that the Leafs coughed it, I would say coughed it up. Arizona broke out of their own end after being hammered on, and they skated down, threw it right across the goal, just like that. And it was a perfect goal. It was a perfect play.
There's nothing Mrazek could have done.
Mrazek, even Brody did what he was supposed to do. He stayed on his guy. He tried to lift the stick. He just couldn't get enough weight under it. Zingle had his weight down on the stick. Puck came across, and he topped it. It was a good goal. Yep. And Matthews had a nice shot. Came in, waited the defense. I forget who the defenseman was. Defenseman made the poke check. As he went for the poke check, Matthews pulled it, toe drag around him, shot it right over the goalie's shoulder. Goal. Beautiful goal. Yeah. But that was the only one they could get in. Yeah, that was the only one they could get in.
Yeah, I get all that. On the stat sheet, they played good. When you're watching, they play good. I just have a hard time giving them the benefit of the doubt to losing to the worst team in the league. It's like...
You're not the worst team in the league.
Who's the worst team? No, someone just jumped
Montreal.
them. Montreal just jumped them, or they jumped Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least Leafs can beat them.
At the time, I believe they were the worst team in the league.
I think so.
Yeah. I just don't think you should be losing that game to that team. I mean, you're going to lose games.
You know what, Brandon? They should have won it. Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? They lost, but I'm not going to give the benefit of the doubt to saying, well, you know what? They played good defensively. I'm like, it's Arizona Coyotes. That should be, without a doubt, you played good defensively against them. I'm not going to praise our defense for playing well, or I'm not going to praise Mrazek, even if they didn't have a bad game. But what?
Sorry, what I was saying is sorry, are you talking defensively, the Muzzin and Hall pairing?
Yeah, because you said they didn't play too bad in this game.
They played well offensively. In the last 2 minutes, when the Leafs had 6 skaters on the ice because they pulled the goalie, Hall and Muzzin were out there for part of it.
But their issue is defense. They're horrid defensively.
It is, and they played decent defensively.
I thought when I said it, I thought you said, because I was criticizing them in general, and I thought you were defending them defensively. I'm like, no, I'm not giving them defensive praise for losing to Arizona.
You know what? I don't know how they played defensively. The whole game was in the Arizona end.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell. Like I said, the only defenseman I really noticed was Brody on that second goal, because he did the right thing. He just couldn't get enough stick lift on it.
Which is unfortunate.
It was either he pull back on his stick and get a slashing call, or he let it go.
Yeah,
it was one or the other. So
I'm not gonna.
He should have got the call.
It's one of those things where I'm not gonna rip on them too much because it was 2-1 loss. So, you're in the NHL. Teams are gonna win, upsets like that. But I'm not gonna give them any praise for anything they've done either. Because again,
let me flip it this way, Brent. Remember at the beginning of the season when the Leafs lost 2-1 in overtime to the New York Rangers?
Yeah.
Do you remember that game?
Yeah, I think so.
Where we said the Leafs did everything they absolutely could. Sometimes you just lose a hockey game.
Yeah.
That's what this game was. The Leafs did everything in their power to win that game, and they just could not score. That's all.
I get it. But New York's like a middle of the pack team, whereas Arizona is a team that doesn't have barely any NHL players. You're essentially.
But it all comes down to goaltending.
So
it did. But I'm just I'm not gonna rip on them too much because, like you said, and you're right. You're gonna lose. You're just gonna lose games sometimes. But I'm not gonna give them any praise for. I'm not giving them praise.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving them praise. I'm just not saying the Leafs didn't play well because they did.
But
right. I'm not saying they did great. They did everything they could, and they lost. But that is the truth. Mm-hmm. They did.
They outplayed them.
They had 46 shots on net.
Oh yeah, they outplayed them to hell.
They doubled. They had 18 more shots on net than Arizona Coyotes did, which is the entire goal shots they had against Vegas.
Mm-hmm. And
they had an entire game's worth of shots on top of the shots they had against Arizona.
I'm not saying they didn't outplay them. They outplayed them to hell. I'm just saying that's kind of if the Leafs are playing Arizona, I expect them to dominate that game.
I expected a 5-1 win or a 5-0 win. Yeah. That's what I expected. And that's what it should have been. Like, but I do want to talk about Vejmelka for a quick second.
I was just going to say, should we talk about this guy?
So I do, because he's a guy that I don't think I've ever heard. I may have heard the name of once or twice about. And Chase and I were just discussing him a second ago before we started recording. Brendan, he has I had it here a second ago, sorry. He has a 9-10 save percentage this year.
How many games?
Which 18
20 games overall.
20 games total. He started 18 of them, though.
On the Coyotes.
So he's come in twice after the goalie's been pulled. So that says something. But let me just read you a quick number here. 9-10 save percentage. 4 out of his 18 starts are wins. He's lost 14 of his games.
But he's a nice
Arizona Coyotes have a negative 55 goal differential. And he still has a 9-10 save percentage. Right? So I decided to go. I was going through, and this is probably haywire. I think this is probably random luck that I clicked on this one. But I was going through the Coyotes' schedule, and I decided to click on. I was like, what team is a high offensive team? And I clicked on Washington Capitals. Right, they lost 2-0 to Washington. Vejmelka started in net that game and had a 968 save percentage. He's got a future.
I think so. Sounds like it.
He has a future, and it's the last year of his contract right now.
Ooh.
And he's only 25 years old. So he's got a future coming up here in the NHL, and on the ice versus off the ice, Arizona is two different stories, right? Yep. On the ice, they're now the second last place team. They have I'm pretty sure they have the largest goal differential, don't they? Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're minus 55 and the Habs are minus 54.
So they're the highest goal differential, negative. Yet they have, 8 picks in the first 2 rounds of the draft?
Something like that.
They're back to off the ice. They don't have an arena to play in next year.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on with the Arizona Coyotes. I'm going to be excited to see what goes on for the remainder of their season until October 2022. Not to mention, there's rumors about them trading, what's his name? Chychrun, thank you. Yeah. There's rumors about them trading
more
him.
picks.
Yeah, they have so many. And then we talked about this a couple weeks ago. They could make a huge splash if they draft properly, and they don't have a good history of that.
Or they can trade draft picks. Right? You could do both.
They have a lot.
Yeah, you could trade them. But the other thing, too, now is it's not the same GM grouping that has done the drafting the last 5-6 years.
Right.
It's a totally new front office.
Yeah.
Plus now with the way Vejmelka's starting to come about, because this kid, when he was 19, was playing in the Czech men's league. He was in the top division, putting up above 900 save percentage and below 2.5 goals against average. So this kid's good. And they also have Ivan Prosvetov in the minors right now, who played in Saginaw on the O. He's unreal. So their goaltending looks good down the road. Now they just got to build out from that. You have Clayton Keller you can build around. I'd keep Jacob Chychrun and use him as a defenseman to build around.
I would too, especially on the contract he's on.
$4.6 million. That's for
3 years after this. And they free up about $2.25 million in dead cap after this year. They have Darcy Kempfer and they have Michael Grabner that they're paying for right now.
Phil Kessel's leaving.
Yeah, Kessel's leaving.
But he's at least playing, right? Grabner
Yeah.
and Kemper aren't on the team, aren't playing, but they're tying up $2.25 million.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right? So, Brandon, if we're talking if we're talking about players who don't have a contract after this year, it's a lot longer list than Phil Kessel.
Oh, I know. I'm looking at it now. It's lots.
They have what, 4 players over $1 million. Or 5 players. 5? 5. They have 4. 4 players over $1 million who have a contract going after this year.
Well, that's how they got all the picks. They start taking on all those horrendous contracts.
Yep.
For that 1, maybe 2 years.
Yep.
Jettison them, and then all of a sudden now you can do a proper rebuild if you are patient enough.
And I as much as I would love to see, in my ideal world, I want to see Chychrun come to the Leafs. Like, how incredible would that be?
Well, for Leafs fans, good. For me, no.
We'd have to pay up a lot for him, though.
Yes.
But ideally, you would keep him and build your team around him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Him and Clayton Keller.
Yeah, him and Clayton Keller.
Yeah. Those are your 2 cornerstones.
Like you said, they have 3 forwards after this year signed.
Yeah. And one of them's only signed for 1 more year.
Yeah, it would be Andrew Ladd signed for like 1 year after, and then it's Nick Schmitz.
Oh, that's right, that contract.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, with the amount of players that they're going to be getting and signing, they can control the cap.
Yeah,
easily.
This is going to be a crazy draft year for them.
It will. It's like I said, it's going to be exciting to watch. Not to mention, they don't have a place to play next year.
Yeah, that's an issue.
So just add that onto all of it.
You start playing these games on rollerblades in the middle of a random parking lot. I think that's going to be your best bet. Or they're going to have to get everyone on the bus and go to
Vegas.
Tucson and play where their AHL team is, because it's going to be the right size for their fan group.
Yeah, that's fair. You could also get the synthetic ice. Have you seen
we have that at the new Source Sports I'm opening. It doesn't feel the same.
No.
So the synthetic ice isn't the best way to go.
I've always wondered about that.
It's not bad. It gives you a pretty close feel, but it's still awkward.
Yeah, how do you Zamboni that?
You don't. You have to mop it, buff it, all that fun stuff.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is. But hey, it does the trick if you need it in a pinch.
Mm-hmm. All right. You right there, James?
Yep, all good.
I think that's all I got to say about the Arizona game.
I was going to say, yeah, if you guys are done with the Arizona game, we can jump over. I got 2 individual players I kind of want to touch on here. One being Rask, and the other one being Evander Kane.
Ooh.
I think we go with Rask first.
Yeah, because
it's gonna be the shortest.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. So let's talk about Boston here. I'm just actually want to pull up their cap friendly here, just because I want to get these numbers right. But Boston's cap friendly. So Boston's salary, they signed for 1 year, correct?
1 year, $1 million.
And they just signed Allmark for $5 million a year.
Yes.
Do you think Allmark will get most of the starts or no?
Personally, down the stretch, I think he gets them more as they slowly work Rask back in, since he hasn't played a game in over a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once, let's say I give it 2 weeks, it's going to be a 50-50 split.
Are they giving him AHL conditioning stints, or are they? Just
No, he's playing tonight.
He's playing tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
He's allowed 2 goals on 15 shots so far tonight.
Okay.
Not a great start, but who are they playing?
Philly.
Oh.
My dad will not be happy right now.
No.
Brucey is going to be swearing at the TV.
So I guess my big question here is you have Swayman's the other goalie, correct?
Swayman is the one they just put down to Providence.
So you have Swayman if you need him, but you got Rask and Allmark. One's $5 million, one's $1 million. Who you play in the first game of the playoffs?
All depends on how they play down the stretch. I go with the hot hand at that point.
Yeah.
If it's Allmark, he goes in. If it's Rask, it's Rask.
That's fair. I think, I don't know. I got a feeling Rask is taking that starter position.
They haven't been off to a great start this year. You're right. So if Rask comes in and plays like Tuuka Rassk,
yeah.
But this is the thing. So everyone sits there and goes, if he plays like Tuuka Rassk, yeah, he's great in the regular season. And then he gets to the playoffs, he falls apart.
Markin.
He has, like, everyone sits there and goes, oh yeah, well, he's got a cup. He didn't play in net for that cup. It was Thomas.
Yeah.
The 1 year he was the starter in the playoffs, he was part of the Bruins team that had the 3-0 series lead against the Flyers, and he fell apart. The Bruins fell apart, and they blew a 3-0 series lead, and they lost 4-3 in Game 7 to the Flyers. So he's not the most reliable goalie. Like, he's a good goalie, don't get me wrong, but I personally would have kept rolling Allmark and Swayman down the line because they're younger. They're going to be your future as you move forward. Rask is 34. He has a history of groin and now a hip injury.
Yep.
There's not much time left on him.
Yeah, and that's why he signed for half a year at $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Like,
just to kind of see.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know.
He's a cult favorite, though. That's the problem. Like, everyone sits there and says, oh, Rask. Like, you got to sit back and look at it objectively. Like, he hasn't won you the big game.
If he's got... So, hip injury, and what was the other one?
He's had groin injuries.
Those are probably two of the worst things a goalie can have.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
He's 34. He's not old, but he's getting to that
He's
time.
aging.
He's aging.
He's vintage.
He's vintage. He's only signed a 1 year. Do you think is joining Boston this year as like a last hurrah and maybe retiring at 35? Like, if he's got hip and groin injuries, if he goes out this year to see if he still has it and he doesn't have it, do you think he just wants to do this so he can retire a Bruin?
Let me throw this in quick. Will he retire this year? I'm not sure. Will he retire a Bruin? Yes. I don't think he'll go play for another team.
No,
He won't.
I think he did this specifically so he could have one last shot and retire a Bruin. Be the goalie coach. You're one of the best goalies in recent history.
Not always. Yeah, but players don't always turn into good coaches.
You're right.
Look at Gretzky.
I was just about to say, look at Gretzky.
It was just the first thing that came to mind.
Greatest player to play.
If he wanted,
shit coach.
Like, if he wanted, he could be in the Bruins organization and retire a Bruin, but maybe get his name. But maybe he wants to win a cup in a couple years as a assistant something or other, right? It's kind of like what I want Jason Spezza to do with the Leafs when he's retired. I'm like, just stay with the team. I love you.
Stay on somehow.
Do something.
Yeah.
I personally think, though, for Rask, it's going to be one of those things where if he either feels like the odd man out or he just doesn't feel like he can necessarily go the same way for the Bruins as he has in the past, I see him retiring from the NHL. I think he goes back to Finland to be with his family, and he ends up playing in the Finnish Elite League.
Okay.
There's a lot of goalies
retire from the NHL.
Yeah, like, because a lot of goalies and even players in that sense, like, well, look at David Krejci. He retired from the NHL, but he's still playing in the Czech League, and now he gets to represent his home nation in the Olympics. So that's something 4 years. I don't think Rask will be playing at 39, but that's something like he can go home, play in front of his friends and family, and just kind of a little bit more of a relax because it's a lesser schedule in the European leagues, and you don't play the same kind of back-to-backs or the threes and fours. They try to space out a little bit nicer, so that's a little bit easier for his body at that point.
That's fair. I can see it happening.
Yep.
Right, we'll see. But hey, I hate Boston. I hope they win tonight. I will say that much.
I would like to see him get a win on his first game.
I'd like to see Rask get a win on his first.
Especially
as much
because
as I don't like Boston, but
well, it's in Boston too, so it'd be an even sweeter for him.
Yeah. All right, let's take a jump over to Evander Kane here. There's a lot of news going on about Evander Kane right now.
Okay. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with like the backstory or do you want to start with like the news about him?
So, okay, so I guess a quick rundown to my knowledge of his backstory is, I guess it starts before this season, where he was brought up on. His girlfriend reported him for gambling against his own team, right? Betting against his own team, which ended up coming up false, if I'm correct. They were able to prove that he did gambling against his own team.
But he does have gambling issues, and that's been a thing.
Yes. Yeah, he also had abuse allegations come up against him.
Again,
by his ex-girlfriend.
Alleged.
Yeah, again,
allegedly.
Nothing was proven.
Yeah.
Then we get into this season where he was suspended 21 games for falsifying COVID, something to do with COVID protocol.
He had a fake vaccine passport.
Yes.
Where he was suspended for 21 games. Once his suspension ended, he was put on waivers. No team took him, so they sent him to the AHL, where he reported 1 week late. After reporting 1 week late on COVID protocol, he then flew to Vancouver. And his contract has now been terminated. Or they are in the process of terminating.
Yes, because the NHLPA filed a grievance on his behalf.
Yes. So that's as much as I know about it, unless you guys know something else. But from everything I've listened to and heard from others, that's kind of the storyline that I know.
That's pretty.
There might be some more. Yeah, there might be some smaller things in the background, but that's really like the Cole's notes that you would just need to know about.
Also, as a side note, the whole reason why people are talking about him so much, and that he hasn't just been phased out, is because he was still the Sharks' best player.
Yeah, so that was the thing is as these charges came, or as these allegations of him gambling on the team came up, he was the number one player on the team.
Yeah,
like he carried that team. So that's the other thing is he's still a very good hockey player.
Even when
wasn't he having a career year?
Yes, he was. It was a best or second best year he's ever had.
Yeah, he was having something
56 games. 49 points.
That's pretty good.
So he was just shy of a point a game. Right.
Also,
that's a career year for him.
And also in the AHL, he had 8 points in 5 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's.
Which is why we come to our news. James, you want to list it off?
So that's the thing is. Teams are calling him, right? Yeah. Teams want him. Even though he has a long history of teammates disliking and hating him.
That's another thing. Like
and refusing to play with him. Like San Jose straight up said, we don't want him.
Yeah.
And he's the best player on the team. Yeah. And they still said, we do not want this guy in the dressing room.
That's not the management. That's the players.
That's the players. Yeah. And that's been the story. That was San Jose, Winnipeg, Buffalo, like they've all said the exact same thing. This guy's a nightmare in the dressing room. We do not want him. He's not a good player. He's fantastic on the ice. Everything off the ice is bad.
Yeah.
Bad news.
He's a cancer in the dressing room.
Yes. With that being said, a lot of teams are calling for him. A lot of teams are asking, I guess, about him, what he wants to do, where he's signing. And I guess, to my knowledge, there's 3 teams that are legitimately interested. And it's Tampa, Panthers, and Oilers.
Now, yeah, because Tampa, the Panthers make sense as like a rental. Because like if they're going for a win this year, which both of those teams are, he makes the team better.
See, Chase, what do you think?
I think if any team's going to get him, it's going to be the Oilers. They're going to make a full court press.
Yeah.
Because they need depth. Because if they don't get depth scoring, they're screwed.
So I'm actually siding with Chase on this one, Brandon. I think that if Tampa or the Panthers get him, it'll actually be worse for the team.
Okay.
I
agree with you saying that Oilers are the most likely to get him. I'm just like I would make sense because of blah blah blah. But
looking at it from a general manager's perspective, You have the Lightning, you have the Panthers that are both absolutely dominant teams, right? Both teams are very strong. Why would you throw a cancer cell into the middle of that? Whereas the Oilers are 2-9-2, 2-8-2 in their last couple games.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Yeah, 2-9-2.
2-9-2 in their last 13 games. At some point, you have to say, screw it. We'll take on this cancerous player if he can put up 20 goals for us. Because what Brent, we talked about last week. What do the Oilers lack the most?
Scoring depth.
Other than McDavid and Draisaitl, they don't have anybody who can score on that team.
And Evander Kane can provide that.
And Evander Kane. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen if you get a cancerous player to the dressing room? They're in third last place.
I could tell you. If either of you watched the conference where McDavid was asked about it, he seems pretty done. If Evander Kane comes in and they don't make the playoffs, and he's a cancerous person in that dressing room, do you think McDavid wants to stay there with Evander Kane on a new contract?
So I have a thought about that press conference. Are you done with the one where, what did he say? He's like, I don't care what the media says, I don't care what the fans say.
It is what it is kind of thing. Right?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So here's my opinion on it, which is kind of different. You have the best player in the league, and people are asking him his opinion on this. What does Connor McDavid want to do more than anything?
Win.
He wants to win.
How
he wants to cut.
What will help him win?
Evander Kane.
Depth scoring.
Possibly.
Evander Kane can help that team win because he can provide scoring. Mm-hmm. Now, what does the fans and the media not want?
McDavid to leave.
Or Evander Kane. Fans don't want him because what he stands for and who he is. Media don't want him for the exact same reasons. The only reason management wants him is because he can win hockey games. Because he's good, he can score. You put the best player in the league on the spotlight and say, hey, how do you think about this player who could come and help you do the one thing you want to do in your life? What do you think about him joining your team? He can't openly say, yes, please sign him. I want him on my team. I don't care about his history. I want to win. He can't openly say that. And he can't openly say, well, he's not a good person. He wouldn't be a good fit for this dressing room. I don't know about his history. He can't say that either. So he throws a bunch of words together that mean nothing and says, it is what it is.
Which is the smartest move he could have done.
And because I know that a lot of people gave a lot of hate to McDavid for this, but the guy is, how old is he? 26? 27?
Oh,
25?
not even.
I think
24.
24.
He's trained his entire life to win hockey games. That's all he knows, and that's all he wants to do. He's presented with an opportunity to win more games after they have lost 13 of their last 15 games. Yeah, the guy wants to win a hockey game. Like, it's a bad question if you want a good answer out of him.
Yeah, and I'm not taking much out of that speech. I'm not. What I'm getting at is more theoretical. It's just, if he's obviously angry about the team sucking, right? Mm-hmm. He wants to win. If this guy comes in and he's a cancer in the room, but he puts up points and he'll help them win. If he comes in and they don't even make the playoffs still, but you have this cancerous guy in the room,
he's gone then. You sign him for 1 year.
Yeah, it's only going to be like a 1-year deal because it's going to be
like a million.
If that's the
half.
case, then cool. But if they sign him to a multi-year deal, say they sign, like, how old is Evander Kane? I can't. He's like 20.
I think he's 29 or 30.
29 or 30. So at this point, he wants more than a year deal. He might maybe
31.
Yeah. So this is when he wants his this is when he wants his last long deal.
He had a last long deal, Brandon.
I know.
He had $7 million for How long was it? You guys know?
Until 2025.
Yeah, it was like a 6 or 7 year deal for $7 million. He had that contract, and he threw it away.
He doesn't have that now. So, and he's broke. He's bankrupt right now. So
he can't get it though. Teams know this scenario, so they're going to sit there and he's bent over a barrel. He now has to take a short-term contract to earn the respect and the trust.
Yeah.
So teams will give him a 3, 4, 5 year deal.
It's the same.
Yeah. So hopefully
it's the same thing that Tony DeAngelo went through.
Yeah. So hopefully he gets a 1-year deal. But if they are stupid and they give him like 3 years or something like that, which like a bridge deal kind of thing, if they give him 3 years, I think, and they don't get any better, I think McDavid seriously starts looking for a way out because this man.
They can't.
Pardon?
They won't be able to afford him for more than a year.
Well, I would say I'd give him 2 years at like 1.25.
I'd go 1, and if things work out and the team likes him, and then give him another one.
What's DeAngelo's contract?
1 year, $1 million.
Is that what it is?
I think it's 1 year, $1 million.
I know it's not a lot.
No.
Yeah, 1 year, $1 million. Right. So I would go a year and a half, or I guess 2 year. Well, the remainder of this year and next year, right? So I would do a 2 year contract at like $1 million, maybe 1.25, because think, Florida and Tampa can't afford much more.
No, Tampa can't afford anything.
Right? So, and I don't know, from Tampa's standpoint, like I don't see why bringing him onto the team would be a good idea.
No, like you said, Oilers makes the most sense. But I'm
thinking only because they're doing so bad right now.
Yeah.
If this was the beginning of the season and they were still 16-5 or 16-4, whatever they were, I would say absolutely not. Do not do it.
But they're desperate.
But because they're 2-9-2, you need to do something. Firing the coach isn't enough.
No. Well, the other thing too, with Tippett coming out and ripping apart Koskinen, and Koskinen firing back at Tippett and the team, there's already a bunch of issues in that.
You don't need to throw.
At this point, you try anything.
Yeah.
Like you if you throw another wrench in, who cares at this point? Like you got to do something to either flip this team around, or just do something.
And it looks I've said this a bunch of times. I think McDavid's going to ask for a trade soon. The way things
he might. The problem is there's not a lot of teams he can go to.
If McDavid's agent announces McDavid is open for a trade, every team in the league is going to be throwing draft picks and players and prospects.
It's the $12.5 million that will tie up a lot of teams.
That's fair, but like the team gives them two $5 million players, and they're most of the way there.
But then you have to replace those two $5 million players.
McDavid is worth $4 or $5 million players.
Yes, but again, you look at the same problem the Oilers are now. There's no depth.
Is he worth that? Because the Oilers, you give up $4 million, a bunch of $4 million players. Look how they're doing. They have zero depth because their contract or their salary is in one player.
Yep.
Like 8.5 for Draisaitl and 12.5 on McDavid. That's $21 million right there.
I just think that the team is just. Well, I mean, look at the Leafs. Have pretty good depth, right? They have three $11 million players.
The Leafs also got lucky. The fact that Bunting, Kasha, Kampf turned out as well as they did.
Yeah.
Which is true, but they also have a bunch of decent depth guys that make $3 million kind of thing, right? Like, they have more depth than the Oilers, for sure. I mean,
by far.
Ilya Mikheyev wasn't a lucky one.
But where it comes down to though is it's that $2 million or less kind of spot where that's where you have to get lucky with players.
It is
right.
Oilers are in a much worse situation because they have They just don't have good contracts on the team. After McDavid and Draisaitl, the team's just not made very well.
Well, you could swap out, like, just looking at the Oilers team right now, you could swap out Devin Shore and Tyler Benson for Jason Spezza and Michael Bunting, and I bet you that Oilers team looks a lot different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and both those players I named, one contract is $850,000, the other one's $750,000. So I tried picking two players kind of in the same ballpark as Bunting and Spezza. Like, that's the thing. I just think it comes. The Oilers don't have good depth, but I don't think it's necessarily because of the team. It could be because of management.
Oh, I'm saying
right. Whereas, and it's what you said.
Them.
Who?
Chiarelli screwed them.
Oh yeah.
Like James, like dunking teeth, bad contract.
Yeah, that was a bad. That was a trade, wasn't it?
Mikko Koskinen, bad contract. Mike Smith, in my opinion, bad contract.
Yeah, but how long was Koskinen's contract?
This is his last year.
See, yeah,
like how many years was it?
5.
3?
No, it was 3.
So when they signed him 5 years ago, was it a bad contract?
Yes.
Most goalies in their last year of their contract is not a good contract.
No, like
it's tough to tell because like when he signed the contract, he was playing in Finland.
Yeah, they signed
okay.
him for $4.5 million.
Because he had a great Olympics in 2018.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is why.
That makes. Oh, look at Tyson Berry. Chase, you know him well. So do we.
Yeah, thank you for taking him off our hands to give us Nazem Kadri.
I love Tyson Berry. I actually like.
Did not.
Yeah, I like Berry. He needs to be used.
Yeah,
properly.
He has no defensive talent whatsoever. So when you get
him,
zero. So if you get him hoping for a defenseman, you're gonna be sadly mistaken. Like he should be a forward.
You're gonna be so sad.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Draisaitl could be the first $15 million player? I just look at the numbers here. So I asked Brian this last week, and Chase, I mentioned to you on Saturday, who could be the first $15 million player?
It would be
Will it be McKinnon or Matthews? But do you think Matthews will actually get $15 million? I don't.
I don't think any player will get 15 until the salary cap goes up.
Yeah, depending on the cap.
So Draisaitl's contract ends at the end of the 24-25 season. 4 years from now.
That's true.
Right? I just happen to have Oilers cap friendly up here, and looking at it, it's like, you know what? 4 years from now, I could see a player getting $15 million.
Yep.
Draisaitl could be that player, especially if he stays anywhere near how good he is right now.
Yeah, and I know the NHL's ideal move is they want to be able to get like your McKinnons, your McDavids, your Matthews, your Draisaitl's to the point where they're making comparable money to the top players in the other the other 3 major sports. But that's what that's their stretch goal. They want to keep getting more revenue in, so the salary cap keeps coming up and up and up, so that way you can keep getting bigger money. But the problem is, baseball is so worldwide. Basketball is so worldwide. The NFL is spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
The NHL. That's why I think the World Cup, and I know this goes back to conversation we had. That's why the World Cup would be the best way to do things. To try to get them there.
Yeah.
But at the moment, what you're saying, I think you're right. I think Draisaitl, because of where the cap sits and when it's supposed to expand again, he could be the first one that makes 15 mil because of
timing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And then the year after that, McDavid's going to get 17.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, if it's possible. Yeah. That's all I have on Evander Kane, though. I don't know about you. Like, I just think bringing him to Tampa or Florida, bad move.
Well, I know
you have a team that's that good. Why throw a firecracker in the middle of it?
Yeah. Well, I know at one point the Bruins were interested, before his contract was terminated. They were actually looking at a trade.
Okay.
And the one stipulation was Evander Kane was going to have an in-person meeting with Neely, Sweeney, Bergeron, and Bruce Cassidy. So, Vice President of Hockey Ops, GM, coach, and captain.
Sit down with everyone.
And get it through his head. Like, if you do one thing,
you're gone.
That's not part of this team. You're done.
See,
and that's the last I heard. I don't think that will happen. So I think right now Edmonton is his landing spot because, as we said, they need help. They need the depth. And right now, Ken Holland seems to be the only GM willing to just dive headfirst in because it sounds like Florida and Tampa, they are interested. They've made the call, but there's a lot of questions they're asking where Edmonton's like, yeah, we'll sign him. Here's the contract.
Ken Holland sees him as the issue to their problem. Right? Yeah. Or the solution to their problem. Sorry. He's the solution to the problem. And Brandon, we talked about it last week. What does the Edmonton Oilers need most? Do they need a defenseman? Do they need a goalie? Or do they need another player who can score who is not McDavid or Draisaitl?
Yeah,
they need that depth scoring.
They need depth.
Especially if you get a $7 million player for $1 million.
Yeah.
Because his last year, I had it here. He had 56 games played, 22 goals. So he was on pace for over 30 goals that year.
Now, here's another issue with him, though. It's going to be kind of like Tyler Bertuzzi. Well, he can't really cross the border. It's going to be like a Tyler Bertuzzi thing, right? He's not going to be able to go back and forth across the border. He doesn't have a vaccine.
I think he's vaccinated now.
That was my next question. What's the update on his vaccine?
I'm pretty sure he's vaccinated.
Because they said
on the one broadcast, they were saying the only NHL player that is not vaccinated is Tyler Bertuzzi.
But Evander Kane wasn't an NHL. He wasn't playing in the NHL.
He was still on an NHL roster. That's what you're talking about. Any rostered player is fully vaxxed, except for Tyler Bertuzzi.
Which will suck if they make it to the playoffs against a Canadian team.
Yeah.
Yeah. By then, that might change. Like, not the rule. I mean, Bertuzzi might just sit there going, crap, I got to get it.
I want to play in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see any news here about him saying he's vaccinated. It's all about his vaccine passport that he's fake.
He says he's fully vaccinated.
Is he? Yeah. That's what his report says, too.
Yeah. Asked in a follow-up question whether he used a fake vaccination card, Kane replied, "You know what? I'm fully vaccinated, and that's all I have to say."
Okay.
Then why'd you use a fake one?
Yeah.
I'm wondering
why not?
I'm wondering if it was one of those things where he didn't want to do it, so he got it, but then when he started seeing the QR codes coming out, it's like, crap. Okay, I'm gonna get my vaccine now. Or hopefully this can hold me over for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Evander Kane. That's the last thing I had to talk about this week. I don't know about you guys.
No.
Kind of a short one for me here.
The only other thing I have is just keep your eye on Buffalo right now. They are down their first 4 goaltenders.
Yeah.
They're on their 5th and 6th string.
I did see that. They are hurting right now.
They had to bring back Michael Hauser.
Oh.
Exactly.
Boston is winning now.
Okay.
They were up 3-2.
Nice. In the third?
Third half,
5 left.
Five left in the third.
Alrighty then.
So maybe we'll see Rassk get a win.
David Pasternak with the hat trick in that game.
Wow.
I don't know about you guys, but my fantasy is not good this year.
Bergeron doesn't even have a point tonight. Oh, that's sad.
I got a shutout for Merzlikins.
Oh.
And, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Carolina just got shut out 6-0.
Yeah, I know.
Elvis
Columbus.
Merzlikins.
Oh, the guy's a monster.
Got a goal for me.
I keep drafting him every year, and it somewhat works out for me.
You know what? Keep him for next year.
He might have to be a keeper.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's all I've got.
Yep. I'm good.
Next games. We have games to talk about. For one, Marner's coming back this Saturday.
Yep.
So,
No one cares.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, I had it. Hold on. Here we go. So, are we gonna record? Are we gonna do Thursdays from now on? Is that kind of the idea?
It seems like so far Thursdays have been best with James's new schedule. Does
that work with yours?
That guy is now part of the non-self-employed workforce.
Yeah.
He actually has schedules now. So when he comes back, we'll verify. But what games do we have coming up?
So we have the Blues on Saturday, and then we have the Rangers
Oof.
on Wednesday.
Oof. Those are two tough ones, sir.
Hey, James, we were just, first of all, we were thinking if it works best with your schedule, are Thursdays kind of the thing now?
No.
Oh.
So I was going to say, this week coming up, I can't record Wednesday or Thursday.
Well, shit.
I can record Tuesday or Friday, though. Or you guys can do it without me.
I could do Tuesday or Friday.
The Leafs will win both games.
I believe it.
Blues and Rangers?
No. They're going 1-1.
Why do I feel like I have
Losing to the Blues. No, losing to the Blues.
Really?
They're tied for second in the Central.
Who, Blues?
Yes. They're
Rangers are first.
It's the Rangers.
They're in first place in their division. We're tied for first with the Hurricanes.
Yeah. I think the Central's a little strong, a little tougher to play against than the Metro.
I don't know. The Metro's got the Hurricanes, Capitals, and Penguins.
I'm being biased here, okay?
And the Blue Jackets, who just stomped the Hurricanes.
I'm being a big homer here because the Avs are in the Central.
Yeah.
Let me have this moment.
No.
I'm changing mine. I'm going 0-2. They're gonna lose both.
I think they'll take them both.
I think they have to win against they have to come out on Saturday, because in my opinion, that was a loss week. That was a loss.
Yeah, I agree.
Jace?
Oh, definitely a lost week.
Lost week.
And there's going to be another one because they're going to go 0-2.
They're against two good teams.
And they're not.
And the Leafs?
The Leafs are a team that, I don't know, in the past at least, they are very sensitive. So when they get their feelings hurt, they don't really get back up on the horse. And
you're also playing as Jordan Binnington, who swings a stick at people's faces.
I know.
Oh, yeah, true.
I'm going to say...
Put Nick Ritchie on him.
There, I like it.
I say...
2 minutes left in the game.
I say they win one, lose one. If they lose...
Which one are they winning? Which one are they losing?
I think they win Saturday and lose Wednesday. But if they lose...
Yeah,
But they have to come out Saturday. Like, I'm kind of at a loss for what's going on Saturday. I mean, you're coming off a loss against Coyotes. Your confidence isn't at the highest, and you're playing a good team. So we'll see. I think they'll come out.
I think they're gonna bulldoze the Blues.
Bloody hope so.
Is it a home game?
No, they're all road trips.
Yeah, it's road trip.
Oh, that's even worse.
Six game road trip.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talk about kicking the knackers.
At least they're playing hockey, though.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's the problem with the Canadian team.
Yeah, a lot of them are being postponed.
Yeah, whereas they have a bunch of... I mean, it's 6 away games, which sucks, but I mean, at the same time, they're playing. Right? They're getting their games in.
Wow, we only have 2 months.
True that.
We only have 2 months left scheduled.
Well, we have half of January.
February, March, and April.
Like a week of February. March, and then April.
Okay. Yeah, there was like a weird... On the schedule I'm looking at, there was like a weird space. I had to scroll down.
Yeah, no. It goes to the end of April.
Yeah, because originally February had the 2-week break for the Olympics and then the All-Star break.
Yeah.
They still have...
I think it was All-Star break first.
Was it All-Star break first? Then the Olympics?
I think the All-Star break was like the 5th of February.
So are we putting in like makeup games in that, because we have a game on the 1st and then a game on the 24th. Like, are they putting in makeup games?
Possibly.
The idea is those 2 weeks that the players are supposedly going to be going to the Olympics, that's going to be used for some makeup games.
Okay.
At least in the States.
If they can, yeah. Because you think the arenas, like Scotiabank Arena, would have filled those dates with Raptors games or concerts or events, kind of things like that. They would have got people in the door for something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So trying to schedule a Leaf game during that is difficult. However, there's no concerts, there's no events, which makes it easy. However, they don't want Leaf games because that's $3 million in lost revenue.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the fight that the Leafs are against right now. Where, yeah, the venue's open, but do we want to lose the money, or do we just play the game? Like, what do you do? Or do you play all away games? Right? Like, does Los Angeles have an opening where we can go and fly down and play a game in LA and then play our next game against Anaheim and then play the Sharks? Like, can you do a Western road trip?
But then you piss off the players because then it's less time at home for them.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where you just go and you point the finger at the lovely government.
Yeah.
Being a Canadian team right now sucks. What can you do?
Yep. It's one of those things where you got to live with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I hope they reschedule a bunch of games, but we'll see.
I'm wondering when we'll hear about that.
The rescheduled games?
Like when if they're planning on doing stuff mid-February, we're already mid.
They'll have to have it planned by the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Probably by the end of this month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see when those are going to be rescheduled for.
Because also, if they don't use those 2 weeks to do any type of rescheduled games, the players will be even more pissed because the whole point of them, the whole reasoning for them not going, was all the games that were canceled. They had to be made up and safety. So if
they don't do it,
you're not going to reschedule them, then why didn't we go?
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see what happens.
We will.
All right, guys. I'm done for the night. Anybody else have anything to say?
No, that's it for me.
So we'll keep people posted on Twitter. We're gonna see what our schedules are like. It's gonna be a little rough going for the next couple of weeks until we kind of get into the groove of some new scheduling. It sounds like Tuesday or Friday are the most likely.
I can do either one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty open for that.
So if we do Tuesday, we only have one game to talk about. That being said, if we wait till Friday,
let's do it Tuesday then. Let's do it Tuesday.
It's only one game then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a loss anyway.
It's 3 games the following.
Okay. We'll do Tuesday then.
All right.
So look for the podcast next Wednesday. And good to talk to you guys. We'll see you next week.